Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're doing something really special. We're going to deconstruct Claude Code, cracking open the source code of what is, frankly, one of the most impressively engineered AI development tools I have ever seen. All right, let's jump right in. So here's our game plan. We'll start with what this thing actually is and take a peek at its core anatomy. Then, we're going to zoom way in on three absolutely standout components: its unstoppable engine, its Fort Knox level security, and its surprisingly slick UI, before we wrap it all up with the biggest takeaways.
Okay, first things first, what are we even talking about here? On the surface, Claude Code is an agent that lives right there in your terminal. But as you're about to see, it is so much more than just another command line tool.
Now, the key word you really need to focus on here is agentic. This is not just a chatbot spitting out text. No way. This is a tool that can actually do things for you. We're talking editing files, running commands, and even wrangling other agents. It's like having a digital partner right there with you. And just to give you a sense of the sheer scale of this thing before we dive deeper, we are looking at over 500,000 lines of TypeScript. This is a serious, complex, massive piece of software. All right, so let's pull out the blueprint. If we're going to understand all the engineering magic going on, we first need a map of how this whole system fits together. You know, at a high level, the flow of data is just fascinating. Your input first hits what's called the REPL. That's the interactive command line. From there, it goes to this central query engine. This engine kicks off a core loop, calls the AI model, and the model starts streaming back its thoughts. As it's thinking, it can use tools, get results back, and then decide, do I keep going or am I done? It's this living, breathing, constantly evaluating process. A quick peek at the code structure actually gives us some big clues. You see a ton of UI components and utility files. That makes sense. But the really juicy part here, that third one, Ink. That is a custom-built 90-file rendering engine. And that right there is a huge tell about the deep, deep investment in user experience that we're going to get into later. And that brings us to our first deep dive, the core engine. This is the absolute heart of the application, and it was engineered with one primary goal in mind: to be extremely resilient, unstoppable even. To really appreciate this, you have to ask a question that plagues pretty much every AI agent out there. What happens when stuff goes wrong? You know, when the AI gets confused, or you try to jam way too much text into a prompt. Well, most systems just break. They throw an error and give up. Claude Code? It doesn't. And this is the absolutely brilliant solution: a 5-layer recovery system. If a prompt is too long, it first tries the cheapest, easiest fix. It drains some of the context. If that doesn't work, it compacts the whole conversation into a summary. Still stuck, it escalates and bumps up the token limit. Then it tries to gently nudge the model back on track with little recovery messages. And only as a last resort does it fall back to a completely different backup model. It's an incredible safety net that makes it almost impossible to knock over. Let's move on to the tools. Because if the engine is the heart, then the tools are the hands. And when you give an AI hands that can type commands directly into your computer, well, you better have Fort Knox level security. The perfect case study for this is the Bash tool. This is the tool that lets the AI run shell commands. It is incredibly powerful, which is great, but it's also, as you can probably guess, incredibly dangerous if you don't handle it with extreme care. So how'd they solve this puzzle? Not with just one lock, but with what's called defense in depth. For every single potential threat, like someone trying to sneak in malicious code, there is a specific, dedicated defense. They've got security analysis, special guards against exploits, sanitization to block data leaks, and for the threats they don't even know about yet, they use sandboxing and even machine learning classifiers to try and predict if a command looks dangerous. It is a comprehensive, multi-layered shield. Okay, for our last deep dive, we're shifting gears from security over to user experience. I mean, you don't normally hear the words desktop class UI when you're talking about a command line tool, but that is exactly what the engineers built here. So check this out. Your typical, powerful command line tool relies on a bunch of native code, stuff written in C++ or Rust. That makes installation kind of a pain. But Claude Code is totally different. Get this, it has 0 native dependencies. None. So you're probably thinking, how is that even possible? It sounds kind of insane, but they did it. They did it by rewriting entire C++ and Rust libraries in pure TypeScript.
This is just a monumental amount of work, all done for one reason: to give you a simple, fast, seamless installation experience on any machine.
And we are not talking about some tiny, obscure libraries here. They ported Yoga, which is Meta's C++ layout engine, just to handle the UI. They ported key parts of FCSF from Rust for that lightning-fast file searching. And they ported parts of BAT and Syntact, also from Rust, to do all the beautiful syntax highlighting. It's just an incredible, almost fanatical commitment to the user experience.
Okay, let's zoom back out and tie all this together. What have we learned? Well, it's pretty clear this isn't just a good tool, it's truly an engineering masterclass.
The analysis report I read really just nails it. It says that Claude Code shows exceptional engineering depth. And we've seen that across the board, right? From its basic architecture and performance to its fortress of security and that relentless focus on reliability.
I mean, the technical achievements here are just staggering. We saw how streaming tool use makes it feel faster, how clever feature gating keeps the code clean, how those insane TypeScript ports create a perfect user experience, and of course, how that 5-layer recovery system builds an engine that just refuses to quit. Honestly, any one of these would be a huge accomplishment for a project.
And that really leaves us with one final, and I think crucial question. We are giving AI agents more and more power to act in our world. And when you look at the monumental effort that went into making Claude Code both powerful and safe, you have to wonder, is this the new standard? Is this level of deep, defensive engineering the price of admission for building AI tools that we can actually trust? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.